That's why I asked you to pay back the money you owe. My husband suddenly left me with a big debt and vanished. I tried to reach him, but he didn't respond. What should I do now? I can't afford to pay off such a huge debt on my own. Thankfully, my daughter was there to support me when I felt lost. Mom, don't worry, she said. I'm Kate, 35 years old, working part-time and taking care of the house. My husband's name is Ruggin, and we have a daughter. Rogan and I met at a social event where I was feeling nervous, but he approached me and made me feel comfortable. We hit it off and exchanged contact details. As we kept talking, I started feeling something special for Rogan. Soon enough, we began dating. Who would have guessed I'd end up dating someone I met at a mixer? After our first date, I told my older sister Talia about Rogan. She burst into laughter, saying, "Really? I never imagined you'd find a boyfriend at a mixer. I thought you'd date someone from work or something." I've always been shy and not great at socializing. Even as an adult, I rarely went to parties. It's quite a surprise, isn't it? You only went to help out, right? Exactly. When I showed Talia a photo from our date, she said, "He's surprisingly good looking." After catching up, we said goodbye for the day. Talia is still single and seems content with it, not really interested in getting married or having a boyfriend. While I respect her choice, I'm excited about my future with Rogan. If things go well and we get married and have kids, that would be wonderful. On my way home, I couldn't help but smile. A few years later, Rogan and I got married. I remember his proposal so clearly. It was such an emotional moment. I couldn't stop crying tears of joy. Moving into our new apartment marked the beginning of our life together as a married couple. We used to live apart, so being with Rogan every day felt like a dream come true. Even though our work schedules were different, we made sure to have dinner together, sleep side by side, and cherish every moment. On our days off, we'd relax at home or go for drives, enjoying each other's company. The arrival of our daughter, Rhea, brought even more joy into our lives. She was so tiny and adorable. Her birth was an incredibly emotional experience that I'll never forget. Since Rita was born, I felt like I found true happiness. Our parents and relatives were thrilled too, sending us lots of gifts to celebrate. Just before Rhea was born, I quit my job to focus on taking care of my family. Rogan has always been supportive, helping with household chores and taking care of Rhea, even when he's tired. He'd often say, "I'll look after Rhea so you can rest." I'm grateful to have married such a wonderful person like him. Living with Rogan, who loves and cares for us so deeply, has been incredibly heartwarming. However, a few years down the line, I found myself regretting marrying Rogan deeply. Several years after Rhea was born, Rogan surprised me by resigning from his job. He explained that he had been struggling with a new boss, which had taken a toll on his mental health, leading him to quit. While I understood his reasons, I couldn't shake off the feeling of frustration. Why hadn't he discussed this with me beforehand? Our family relied on his income, so such a significant decision should have been made together. That was unexpected. "Have you thought about what's next?" I asked. "Don't worry, I'll figure it out," he replied vaguely. His response didn't ease my concerns, but I had no choice but to trust him. Luckily, Rogan found a new job relatively quickly. That's a relief. I thought about working too, but with Raya still young, I want to be there for her, I explained. "Is everything going well at the new job?" I asked. "Yeah, it's fine," he replied curtly. I sensed something was off, but I didn't want to push him further. So I handed Rhea to him and went to take a bath. A few days later, Rogan returned home looking downcast. As I tried to inquire about what had happened, memories of his previous abrupt resignation flooded my mind. Could it be that he had quit again so soon? Sadly, my suspicions were confirmed. "I quit my job," he admitted. "Why?" I asked. "I just couldn't get along with my coworkers, especially being bossed around by someone much younger," he explained. "I understand, but we'll get through this. We'll find another job, and I'll support you however I can." I reassured him. Suddenly, Rogan's demeanor changed, and he lashed out at me. Why do you look so displeased? You only eat because I work. You just stay at home and act all superior, he snapped, tossing his bag onto the table. Confused by his outburst, I asked, "What's wrong?" "Just shut up," he retorted angrily, grabbing a whiskey from the fridge and downing it in one go. I was taken aback by his behavior. I'd never seen him this upset before. I tried to calm him down, but he continued to vent his frustrations, eventually slumping onto the sofa in a sullen mood. I was shocked and hurt by his words, and our relationship suffered as a result. Since then, Rogan has been stuck in a cycle of finding and quitting jobs. We went through uncertain times and faced many anxious days. "Rogan, can't you take your job more seriously?" I tried to be understanding initially, but with everything going on, I couldn't stay silent any longer. "You're being unreasonable. If you're unhappy, then you should work and earn money. You rely on me too much." "But what about Raya? What about her?" Lately, Rogan seemed to be losing interest in Rhea and avoiding her. When Raya was born, he was so attentive and happy, but now he was like a different person. No matter how much I pleaded, he showed no interest in finding work. Eventually, I had to leave Rhea with Talia and start working myself. "I'm sorry to burden you with this," I told Talia. "It's okay. Rhea and I will be fine," she reassured me. Rhea had just started kindergarten, so leaving her with Talia wasn't too concerning. I trusted Talia to take care of her, and Rhea was surprisingly mature and calm for her age. She enjoyed reading newspapers and could write long sentences. Rhea was quiet and composed, and I worried if she would make friends at kindergarten. But she surprised me by making many friends and enjoying her time there. It was heartwarming to see as a parent. With Raya settled in kindergarten and Talia looking after her, I felt confident about working outside the home. When I started job hunting, I was surprised to land one quicker than expected. So I began working full-time, and the pay was better than I had hoped for. Even if Rogan didn't have a job, our finances would likely be stable. Luckily, the work environment was pleasant, and despite the busy days, I enjoyed it. After a few years, Rogan finally found a stable job too. It seemed like he had found a workplace that suited him. I felt a huge sense of relief knowing this. Over time, Rogan's mood improved, and he started to resemble the man I married. He became more considerate of my work-life balance, asking if I was tired or if work was tough. I was surprised by his change. Maybe having a stable job gave him peace of mind. Rhea was growing up well, and Rogan became a caring father to her again. Seeing them play together always made me happy, but the thought of quitting my job and returning to the old ways made me anxious. So I continued to rely on Talia for childcare. "How's Rhea? Is she doing okay?" "Don't worry, she's happily playing," Talia reassured me. As long as Rhea was happy, I felt at ease. I still depended on Talia and had been thinking of treating her to something special to show my gratitude. Several years passed, and Rhea was now in the 3rd grade. She went to school every day with excitement. Our family remained close-knit and loving, just like before. I pondered over what had caused the previous strain between Rogan and me. Our home life now felt stable, as if past issues had been resolved. Then one day, Rogan suggested something unexpected. "Have you thought about getting a new car?" he asked. "A new car?" I replied, surprised. "Yes, our current one is reliable, but it's getting old. If it's becoming too costly to maintain," I agreed, realizing our car had been with us for a long time and repair expenses were mounting. "You might be right. Maybe it's time for a new one." "I thought you'd agree." "I've already gathered some catalogs," he said. I didn't expect him to be so enthusiastic about it, but we began looking through the catalogs together. "Rhea, come here. Which car do you want to ride in? Let's choose together," Rogan called out to our daughter. The 3 of us enjoyed picking out a car together. Little did I know, this day would lead to unexpected events. A few months later, the new car arrived. It was a brand new model, costing over $155,000, and the loan was in my name. Normally, Rogan's name would be on such a loan, but given his job history, We feared rejection. I resolved to work even harder to pay off the loan, and I believed Rogan felt the same way. That's what I thought. But my hopes were crushed in an instant. Rogan stopped coming home, disappearing with the new car we had just bought. Did he get into some kind of trouble? What should I do? Just then, my phone rang. It was Rogan. Rogan, where are you? What's going on? I couldn't hide my concern. Relax, he said. You vanished out of nowhere, and the car is gone. Are you in trouble? I tried to explain how worried I had been, but Rogan laughed and dropped a bombshell. I found someone else. She's more important to me than you. What? What are you saying? I've fallen in love with someone else. I've already started the divorce process. Please don't interfere. Divorce? I can't believe this. I was stunned by the mention of divorce. But then I remembered a heated argument we had before. Filing for divorce meant we both agreed to end our marriage. I regretted letting my emotions get the best of me then. Oh, and I have a debt. You'll have to repay it, Rogan added casually. What? How much? Around $200,000. You'll handle the payments. With that, he hung up abruptly. I never imagined something like this could happen to me. Were all of his kind gestures just a facade? As these thoughts flooded my mind, I felt my strength drain away. Mom, what's wrong? Raya asked, rushing to my side with concern as I sank to the floor. It's okay, sweetheart. Thank you. I reassured her, trying to maintain a brave front even as anxiety gnawed at me. How would I manage with such a huge debt hanging over us? The thought of $200,000 weighed heavily on my mind. And then there was the car loan to worry about too. In a panic, I checked my bank balance, searching every nook and cranny for my ATM card, but it was nowhere to be found. Frantically, I checked my bank app on my phone and was horrified to see a significant decrease in my account balance, with no memory of making such withdrawals. Rogan was the only one who could have done this. I tried to reach him, but there was no response. It felt like my world was falling apart. With a blank mind, I resolved to focus on earning money. I decided to keep this burden a secret from Talia and Rhea to spare them unnecessary worry. Weeks later, I collapsed at work due to extreme stress and woke up in a hospital bed, bewildered. Where am I? I asked weakly. Talia entered the room with Raya, her expression full of concern. It turned out I needed to stay in the hospital for several days for further tests. What should I do? I fretted. Let's discuss Rogan once you're discharged, Talia suggested gently. Raya then confessed that she had overheard Rogan's phone call, surprising me with her knowledge of the situation. As I prepared to leave the hospital, I couldn't shake the feeling of apprehension, worried that Talia might reprimand me for letting Raya in on the truth. The next day, I underwent various tests, which revealed that my poor health was due to cancer. Thankfully, it was still in the early stages, and there was hope for recovery through surgery. Although the surgery was successful, returning to work immediately seemed out of the question. With no savings and medical bills mounting, I felt overwhelmed. During this difficult time, Talia and Rhea became my pillars of support. When Rhea explained the situation to Talia, she was even more outraged than I had expected. Talia tried to track down Rogan to make him repay the debt and cover the medical expenses, but his whereabouts remained unknown. What should we do if we can't find Rogan? I wondered aloud. Talia then suggested an idea. What about the car that's in your name? Rogan has it, right? Maybe we can try to get it back. Is that even possible? I asked, surprised. Talia explained further. I found out where Rogan is currently working. Surprisingly, he's at a different company inside the same building where I work. Although I usually work remotely, I've seen him there on occasion. With this information, we can make a plan. Then let's go to Rogan's workplace right away, I suggested, eager to confront him. But Talia advised against rushing into things. We need a solid plan, not just a spontaneous approach, she cautioned. Rhea and I have an idea, she continued. That's right, a plan? Raya confirmed, exchanging a smile with Talia. I couldn't quite grasp the significance of their demeanor. As I watched them silently, Rhea smiled reassuringly and said, "Don't worry, everything's taken care of." What kind of plan have they concocted? They didn't provide details, but everything became clear a month later while I was at Talia's house. Suddenly, a call came in. Glancing at the caller ID, I saw it was from Rogan. Initially, I ignored it, but it kept ringing persistently. Something must have gone wrong. Summoning my courage, I answered, and Rogan's frantic voice pleaded, "Please, help me. I'll explain later. Just come now. I'm in trouble, about to be arrested." He quickly shared his location and hung up. Talia and Rhea, who had overheard the conversation, finally unveiled their plan. We reported the car as stolen. "And it was Rhea's idea," Talia explained, beaming with pride. Rhea blushed and looked down, clearly grateful. I thanked them both profusely and rushed to where Rogan was waiting. The park he mentioned was surprisingly close to my home. Police officers were gathered around Rogan, questioning him. We hurried over to him. First, we explained the situation to the police officers and asked them to leave. Then, Rogan invited us into his car and began explaining what had happened. As I glanced inside the car, I noticed a confident-looking woman sitting boldly in the passenger seat, her legs crossed, staring at us with a cold gaze. "Thanks for coming, but why did the police show up?" Rogan asked, clearly perplexed. He had been surrounded and questioned by the police, yet he seemed unaware of their words. I was so shocked that I couldn't find the right words to respond. "I reported the car as stolen," I finally said. "After all, the car belongs to me. We're divorced, so there's no reason for you to be using my car. Reporting it stolen was the logical thing to do. You probably didn't expect to be accused of car theft." Rhea chimed in, addressing Rogan, who appeared shaken. "Dad, why did you leave us? Why won't you take responsibility for repaying the money? Explain yourself." Rogan sighed and looked at us with an exasperated expression, but he remained silent. "If you refuse to speak, I'll have to involve the police. Using my name without permission is a crime," I warned him sternly. At this, Rogan began to speak hesitantly, bit by bit. He opened up about his mistress, Lily, who had recently started working at the same company as Rogan. Their relationship began at a company welcome party and quickly turned romantic. Shockingly, Rogan discovered about 3 months ago that Lily was pregnant, evident from her growing stomach. "So you chose her over us and left?" I questioned, my tone sharp. Talia chimed in, interrupting Rogan's attempt to explain. She criticized his past actions, including his irresponsible behavior toward the family, frequent job changes, and quick temper. Rogan, seemingly lost in thought or simply ignoring Talia, remained silent, while Lily's irritation was evident. She pressed him about the $200,000 debt, but he stayed silent. Then Lily dropped a bombshell. He borrowed money in his wife's name to buy me luxury items. I was lucky. A $200,000 debt for gifts to Lily. What extravagances had he bought her? It was surprising how easily Lily revealed this information, considering it could incriminate them both if they were conspiring. As I pondered this, Rhea asked Lily about her pregnancy. "When are you due?" Lily replied, "In about 3 months." But the timeline didn't add up. She claimed to have been pregnant for 3 months, yet she was due in the same amount of time. Something didn't quite make sense. "Isn't the timing a bit off?" Talia noticed the inconsistency and questioned Lily further. "Is the baby really Rogan's? It seems strange for the due date to be in 3 months. Whose child is it?" Talia's suspicions were clear. Though taken aback, Lily didn't seem inclined to hide anything. "Actually, the child isn't Rogan's," she confessed. "I thought about keeping it secret, but dealing with him further seemed like too much hassle, so I decided to come clean." "Is that why you admitted to the debt as well?" Talia pressed. "Yeah, there's no point in sticking with Rogan anymore," Lily replied, her tone mocking. The atmosphere grew tense and uncomfortable. I wanted to leave immediately. Meanwhile, Rogan stared at Lily in disbelief. "What are you saying?" "This has to be a joke, right?" he exclaimed. "Why would it be a joke?" Lily retorted firmly. The tension escalated, making the air thick with unease. Talia took charge. "Anyway, I'm calling the police," she declared. Rogan and Lily protested, but Talia reminded them that borrowing money in my name was a crime, as was using the car without permission, especially since Rogan and I were no longer together. She instructed me to make the call, and despite their pleas, I did. Soon, the sound of sirens filled the air. It was a relief to know that they would face the consequences of their actions. The issues regarding the debt and the car would finally be resolved. In the end, Rogan and Lily faced legal repercussions. While they avoided prison, they were held accountable for compensation, repaying the debt, and child support. Despite attempts to lessen their obligations through legal means, Rita's secret recording served as damning evidence, leading to their requests being denied. Rita decided to record the conversation after being inspired by a scene from a TV show she watched with Talia. While I admired her quick thinking, I couldn't help but wonder about the content of the shows Talia exposed her to. Now Ria and I reside with Talia without any commuting issues for Raya's school, as our previous residence was conveniently close. The car was returned safely, and it appears Rogan is somehow managing the debt. If Rogan hadn't made those regrettable decisions, he wouldn't be facing such hardships now. Throughout this ordeal, Talia and Ria have been instrumental, and thanks to them, the situation is gradually resolving. I am determined to work hard for a peaceful life with the two of them from now on.